My name is Mariana Garcia-Corral. My position here is a research assistant.
I'm Mike Super. I'm a staff scientist at Wyss.
I'm Pawan Jolly. I work here as a senior staff scientist.
My name's Sperry, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow at the Wyss.
If I could reimagine the world,
It would be
Without kind of long-term chronic pain effects from trauma.
To actually have a world without diseases, for sure.
without neurodegeneration so that people could age with dignity.
I would have a belief in science without the politics, because I feel that science, in a way almost like a religion, has a way to show a truth.
I'm mama's boy. I'm very family oriented. Growing up with my mom, I realized that she actually had asthma related to allergies. She always used to have some early sign, but it's very hard to say if you're under the weather, you're stressed. So by the time we get to know that, it's allergies, it's already too late, and she's having issues with breathing as she's an asthmatic patient. That experience was quite traumatic as a kid around her because I didn't know what to do. I always used to wonder, why can't there be something like, a device that you just basically scan yourself and suddenly it detects everything. Of course, it's very futuristic to think about something like Star Trek,
My mom grew up figure skating, and she thought it would just be something fun for us all to do. She would just take us out on the ice. It felt like my second home. As I got more competitive and doing more and more challenging things, I started to, have more injuries related to my back. But certainly immediately upon hearing it, you just are you're kind of sad because you won't be able to keep doing what you're doing, but you also are like, oh no, from a competitive standpoint, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to train. But then I also kind of thought, oh no, is this gonna be more permanent? Our lack of knowledge between why some people rebound from injury and some people go on to have these, chronic relapsing bouts of pain really motivated me to start to study some of this in the scientific area.
I was born in South Africa, but I grew up in Namibia, Southwest Africa. My dad was the only pediatrician in an area it's about the size of England and France. So there was lots of travel to see patients. It was kind of like all hands to the pump. For example, we came across an accident and we were then basically in our Land Rover driving the patient to the nearest hospital, and suddenly I was the nurse, check his pulse, do this, while my dad was driving. So my PhD turned into studying a group of children at Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital in London who had what we called non-specific bacterial and fungal infections, particularly in their first 18 months of life. And what we found was that they had a mutation in a particular protein, which is part of the innate immune system.
My grandpa, he has something called Lewy body disorder or disease, which is a combination of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Seeing somebody kind of lose the most important part of himself, like who he is, his memories. Losing us, Honestly, what I wish the most is that science could just make aging such a more dignified process where you could just keep yourself as your whole capacity. That's really what I would really love since I've seen all of my grandparents really struggle. I'm working on using human brain organoids to try to discover new medicines for the treatment of bipolar disorder. The ones that we're intensely screening are already FDA approved so that it can be quickly repurposed and sent to market. We have a pool of 200 drugs that we have to go through one by one, check how our model is responding to it, and it's really interesting to see.
Most of my work is in protein engineering, But we've been using this, for example, in developing ways to treat sepsis. We actually founded a company spun out from the Wyss called BOA Biomedical, and that is actually developing a dialysis-like therapy for treating sepsis, and is also developing diagnostics. They're already in clinical trials with that technology. And I've been working a lot on different DARPA projects. So for example, DARPA DLT, where for sepsis, and DARPA Thor was improving the resilience of the patient in the case of infectious disease, and now DARPA Biostasis.
I work on the Biostasis project, and the goal of that project is to develop therapeutics and different products that could slow down metabolism and slow down biological time, as well as slow down injury processes in patients who have undergone trauma, and hopefully extend their time to reach a different medical center. And then I think the final part that I'm kind of excited about is slowing down the degradation of organs for transplant, and so extending the lifespan of those organs.
My work is mostly focused on developing sensors, integrating into other technologies. Definitely people are now more and more adaptable to point-of-care testing, where they can actually do the test by themselves rather than going to the doctors. The technology that we have developed, which we call eRapid technology, enables that. It's a traumatizing experience to actually stab an EpiPen on your child, right? I mean, so, you know, for them to actually know what's happening, I mean, it really gives you that push that, yes, I'm doing something which may enable, you know, a better future.
Having somewhere where people are pushing the science constantly to be, like, think about like, hey, everyone here is really trying to take things like outside the lab and not just let them kind of be just a research project.
We need to reach out and find the patients whom our technologies can help. And they then become the huge drivers. Just thinking of that you might be helping that person can make a huge difference. One of the sad things for me is that my dad died of leukemia before I joined the Wyss, and I would have loved to be able to talk to him about some of the things that we do at the Wyss.
For one of the things I do to help anybody's life would be extremely rewarding, like completely worth what I'm doing here.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us as we reimagine the world.